we're going to jump right into the next segment here. I have my good friend Cyrus Mohseni, who based out of LA, but at this point I feel like he's global. He feels like he's all over the place. So Cyrus, he's wore a lot of hats since I've known him. We met each other through 30 Under 30, and I think we've built a strong relationship through that. But now we've gone around the country speaking with one another, and different crowds, and I've gotten to know him really well. He's come here before. Many of you guys have had the pleasure of listening to him the last time he was in New Jersey. We're gonna kind of like take on exactly where we left off. In regard to sit wherever you want. Exactly where we left off the last time. I'm not going to repeat questions, but we're going to go through some of the things that we didn't cover that I thought could be useful for everybody in here. So welcome, Cyrus.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I got these really cool glasses that do this like I'm recording.
Are you filming right now?
Yeah.
So
everybody say hi so I can get it on the camera. Like, that's pretty cool.
This guy's like Inspector Gadget. He always has something that he's breaking out
Always
and
got a
showing
new
me
gadget.
to like make me have FOMO. So listen, it's been 2 years, I believe, since the last time you came out.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming as always. There's been a lot of changes since the last time you were here. Probably the biggest is you're no longer on the market. So congratulations. You have an absolutely incredible wife.
So fun fact is after we left here last time, we went to Puerto Rico, and that's where I proposed to my now wife.
Yes.
Like literally like immediately after we left here. Yeah.
We sparked something inside of him.
Yeah. Wasn't planned before. Yeah.
Lindsay is amazing. So congratulations to you. I'm gonna cover a lot of ground here. And I think that what we're gonna do is bounce around a little bit because you kind of wear a lot of hats, as I said. And I think that you could give insight on several different things to try to, give value to different people seeking out like different, let's call it avenues of the business. The first thing I want to talk about is your podcast. So I don't know how many people in here have a podcast or are interested in developing one. A few years ago, Cyrus was like, I think I'm going to start a podcast. And we're having this conversation, and he interviewed me, and he had already started it at that point, but it was really early stage. Now you're top 10% in the world?
Yeah, top 10% globally.
Which is
insane. we get like around almost 3,000 downloads an episode, which is pretty insane. So like metrics wise, like a decent podcast gets maybe like if you put a podcast out, there's like listens and then there's downloads, and downloads like 3,000 downloads is insane for metrics. I just looked that up yesterday.
So yeah. I know you like geek out on this stuff.
I'm like a nerd about the analytics.
So my question to you is this. Tell us let's just start with the basics. Tell us about your podcast and why you put it together.
Yeah, the podcast, so it's called the Butterfly Mindset Podcast. Actually, we just, yesterday we just released the episode with Mike Meadler, who's the CEO of Century 21. So it's amazing podcast, by the way. I started the podcast specifically because I just want to interview my cool friends. Like, I was like, hey, I want to start a personal project. I want to interview my cool friends. I had watched this, I don't know, I think it was like a video on Instagram or something like that. And it was like it was an ad, and it was like, tell your parents' story. There's like something that you like go on, and it's like, tell your parents' story. And they like ask these questions. And then I just like started thinking, which some of you guys that were here last time, like understand my story. Like, I lost my grandma, my uncle, and my dad all in the same year when I was younger. And so, I just started thinking to myself, like, it just kept playing over and over. Like, I have all these amazing people in my life. I used to play professional soccer. I know a lot of people in the hip hop industry. I know a lot of people in the real estate industry. And I'm like, I have these amazing people that like half the people that I talk to, like, you don't even know their real story, like how they actually got to where they were. So I was like, I just want to interview these people because they're like, interesting to me, and I want to share that story. And then it was just, I started doing that, and then I just stayed consistent with it. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should look at metrics on this stuff and like see what we're doing. And then I realized it was doing really, really well. And so then we rebranded it. I literally called it Cyrus's Podcast because I was literally just interviewing my friends. Like I was just like, yeah, let's do this. And then it turned into something way bigger just from consistent output, to be honest.
So one of the things that I found really interesting about the more I heard you doing and going down this road is, every person in here, you think of a podcast, at least I do. And my thought was, all right, this is a way to just like get your name out there to build, business, whatever you want to call it. And, it's a form of marketing. Let's put it that way. That's actually not what it's become for you. Yeah. I think it's become way more. And I'm just curious if you could just highlight to everybody in here the doors that it's opened up and kind of like what that looks like.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, like what's pretty crazy is because of the platform that I've built, because I just stayed consistent and just kept putting episodes out and so on and so forth over time, it's opened a lot of doors in the fact that like I can make a phone call to somebody. I mean, I can sit down with Mike Meadler and have a podcast with the CEO of one of the biggest brands in the world as far as real estate and be able to create rapport with somebody that I probably never would have had that door open without having that. So it's pretty freaking amazing. And then like, I also interview a bunch of founders for different companies, startups and things like this. And I've been able to invest into some of these startups that like, there was one Mela, for instance. It's a watermelon drink, which if you go to your grocery store, you've probably seen it. Like I invested into that and we ended up helping sell that company. Actually, we sold last year, but it was because I met the founder because I saw his brand and I was like, oh, this is a cool upcoming brand. Let me interview him on a podcast, see how he built his company, see how he got to where he was at. And then we just clicked and I was like, hey, like, I'd like an opportunity to put something into this company. And I've had really great returns doing that.
I'm going to go back to Mike Meadler, who I love. So CEO of Century 21, just a down-to-earth, wonderful person. I've known Mike for, I don't know, at least a decade. And, it's funny. I want to walk through this because I think it highlights something that, maybe everybody in here doesn't realize. So we're at Inman in San Diego and I'm standing next to Cyrus. Mike walks over. They do not know one another. He has no idea who he is either way. And basically, like, I know Mike and I'm having a conversation. Cyrus leans over and goes, who is that? I say, it's the CEO of Century 21. He's a great guy. He's like, oh, like, I want to be introduced. I introduce him. They have a conversation. Cyrus says, hey, would you be interested in going on my podcast? Mike is like, he's just super down to earth. Yeah, of course. Like, let me know. Let's schedule it. They jump on this podcast. I would make an argument that Cyrus knows Mike better than I do at this point, like legitimately. And I mean, I love the guy. I've known him forever, but the reality is like you guys kind of like dug deep into like, each other's lives and all of that. And it just brings a different level to a relationship. And I just thought it was awesome that you now have built that off of something so simple as like make an intro.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty interesting. So I was having this conversation with somebody else the other day, and it leans into the same exact thing that we're talking about. In a world where we are so focused on like phone calls and Zoom calls and something like this, right? Like there's something to be said about in-person meetings in general. The podcast opens me up to in-person meetings with high-profile people. The in-person meeting is not important because of the actual meeting. It's because of the before and the after. That's where the magic happens, right? Like when you sit down with a client and you talk to that client, for instance, in real estate, that client, you're probably going to start with talking about their life and what they've been up to. And then you talk a little bit about the business. And then you end up talking about life again at the end, right? And you have a conversation, you're laughing, blah, blah, blah. The before and the after are actually what sells you as an agent. Like the before and the after of a meeting is the most important part. So like that's something that you can never get with Zoom, because Zoom, we jump on at the minute that the meeting's on, and then the minute it's over, all right, see you guys later, catch you later, and you hang up. So it's all business, right? And I think a lot of our business as far as individuals, as far as real estate professionals, is all the before and after, which is the most important piece. And that's a beautiful thing about I talked to Mike probably just using this example for an hour after the podcast. That was already an hour, right? Like, because it's the before and the after is where the magic happens.
So I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole here, but yesterday I was in New Brunswick and I stopped at a Lebanese restaurant that was there for a quick lunch for a meeting. And the gentleman that ran the restaurant, it was kind of like a takeout place. It was a quick place. He had 500 reviews on Yelp, and all of them were 5-star. 500, all of them 5-star. Now, I don't know about you, but like there's no restaurant that doesn't get a complaint about something. Like, so I saw this and I actually thought it was rigged. And I was like, something's off here. But I went to this restaurant, and when I went there, I had a conversation with the guy, and I realized right away why he had 500 reviews, because he came from behind the counter, he shook my hand, said, thank you so much for coming here. And it was like I stepped into like his kitchen at home. And what I realized is like, what you do a really brilliant job of is taking somebody like that and saying, I want to interview you. I want to know your story. I want you to tell me about who you are, because all you got is a little glimpse of going into this restaurant. But the reality is like you bring more out of those situations. I think that every person in here would benefit from thinking about that. You're all local realtors, all of you. If you think about that, like the whole job you have is to highlight and lift up your community. What better way to do it than that?
Oh, 100%. If one piece that like if someone in this room executes on is taking your camera, setting it up on a tripod, and interviewing every local restaurant owner. Period. End of story. Like if you just go to every local restaurant and you ask them to interview their owner, and you talk to them and you interview about how they built their thing, guess what's going to happen? What's going to happen is now when someone walks in and they're talking about selling their house at, down the street or whatever, they're going to say, hey, you need to call Michael. Because the owner's going to co-sign you, period, end of story, because you have rapport that's built on a whole nother level. So if you guys take nothing else from today and you just take your cell phone, you don't need fancy mics, you can get those later, right? When I started recording my podcast, I literally had my iPhone set up, and that was the audio. Then I ended up saying, okay, hey, I should probably get some mics. And then I ended up saying, hey, I should probably get a different camera. And then I ended up having a 3-camera setup, and now Frank shoots all my stuff, right? Like that's the process over years of time of me just outputting on a weekly basis. But if you just take your phone and you go to every local restaurant in your neighborhood, in your farm, and you interview those people, I guarantee you will get business out. And it's not going to be maybe today, but it will be over time. You will start getting business because we make money. Our SOI is our army, right? Like we make money off of the people that co-sign us. So you have to go out there and meet more people that are in front of the most amount of people.
I'm going to put this to another test as well, and that's social media. So anybody who follows Cyrus, we got 100,000 followers.
Trying to get a little over, but I'm trying to get to 150. So scan that QR code right now.
So I have I think I have more people in this room right now than I have followers because I just don't put an emphasis on it. But I've learned something, with Cyrus and with Juan, who also has a, crazy following. And it's like, we'll go to these events and sometimes like, it doesn't matter the operations we run. It doesn't matter, the successes we have in business. Sometimes we'll get followers on Instagram and people will be like, oh, like, who are you? I'm standing next to him. I'm like, you see how this guy's dressed? Come on, like, messing around. But the reality is like, obviously you're brilliant and I appreciate you for who you are. But the truth is like, when you start to, what I'm learning from this, and this is why I'm pointing this out, is when you start to highlight, business owners, let's say in your marketplace, do collaborations. Like the more you do a collaboration, like we collaborated on like pushing this out, me sending it out, maybe I get like a few thousand people. I collaborate with, with Juan and Cyrus, now it might be 20,000. Like it's just a very big difference when you start collaborating with local business owners online.
Yeah, collaboration posts. Yeah, if you guys, that's a whole nother level though. Like if you took the film that you guys are doing with your phones and then you posted it on Instagram and then you tagged and collaborated with that restaurant, oh, you guys are going to reach so many people in the community. It's such a hack. It's such a hack. And because here's the thing is the restaurant owners are going to want to highlight their own stories. So they're going to accept that collaboration from you. And then guess what? Now that restaurant that, 500 people follow or 1,000 people follow or whatever, all of those eyes are now on you. It's like me sitting here and saying each individually, having you stand up here and introduce yourselves and tell you guys what, like you have a room, if you have 5 followers or 500 or 1,000 or 10,000, whatever, like you have that attention of those people. That's insane when you think about it. And when you can grab the attention of another successful restaurant or successful company, like, and put that attention into yours as well, it's insane.
It works really well. I'm just curious, like you've interviewed so many high level, executives and just brilliant business owners. What has been like the takeaway that you've had from that experience? Like any trends, anything that's worth stating?
100%. So I interview so many people and I get like hundreds of messages like after an episode, and it's always different people, and they're like, oh my gosh, that episode was amazing. And I was like, they said the same thing as the person last week. It's what happens is it's the same exact message over every single episode. It's just someone else delivering it. And it's very simple. Consistency and discipline equals success. Consistency and discipline over time equals success. As long as you just put your head down, you put in work, you stay consistent, you stay disciplined with what you're doing, and it goes over time, you will have success. The problem is that most of us want the success now, and we want it on our terms versus just sitting there and putting in the work. I was an athlete, so I used to play soccer for a living. And as an athlete, I wanted to play professional soccer. I was like, I was like 6th grade when I decided I wanted to play professional soccer. I was a goalkeeper. I let 5 goals in every game. Shows you how good I was when I decided I want to play pro, right? But I knew that there's always someone out there getting better than me by working harder than me. So I'm going to be the person that's going to outwork everybody else. And that's just consistency and discipline. I ended up going pro when I was 18 years old in Europe. The reality is like the same thing goes with the podcast. The podcast, I just started putting out content consistently over time and just kept going. And now, years later, it's hitting the success. And I'm probably on this trajectory right now. I just got a huge interview with a huge hip hop artist that we just got the other day. Like, it's insane, right? Where I'm getting it now, where now I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to keep this thing going because it's finally hitting. Where a year ago, it maybe wasn't getting the amount of attention that it is now. So it's consistency and discipline over time. And that's what every single person on that podcast will say over and over and over again.
So I think that there's a lot of people in here that on some level are naysayers in regards to social media. And we get that a lot. Sometimes I'll hear like, oh, like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not getting a return, whatever. You're somebody who obviously is using it to your advantage. What does the return look like for actual business?
For a real estate business? Last year, 17 million is like 16.8 million total sold from just my Instagram. What does that look like? Again, okay, what's the number one, let's say not relationships, let's say what's the number one piece that we always say with our SOI? What do we need to do? We need to be top of mind, right? We need to be in front of people. We need to be top of mind. Social media is the easiest way to be on top of mind because everybody's using it. And if you're not using it, you're way behind. I think we have maybe like, I actually was talking to Michael about this the other day. I think we have maybe like 5-6 years of how social media is right now to take advantage of this situation of how social media is ran right now.
Before the bots come?
Correct. Before it's completely changed. I mean, AI is just, that's a whole different conversation, but it's insane how much everything's going to change. So right now, we have an amazing window to be able to get in front of thousands of people. You can have 50 followers and get reach of thousands and thousands of people because of how the algorithms are set up on social media right now. All you have to do is put out the content.
So talk to us about that because you're a content machine. And, is it 3 videos a day?
Minimum.
Minimum of 3
I'm
videos
on
a day?
like 4 or 5 right now.
Okay. So that's why every time I open up Instagram, I see his smiling face. Now, not everybody in here is going to do that, clearly.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
I think the thing that I always get with this is like everybody always says like, what do you mean you put 3 videos out a day, 4 videos, 5 videos out a day? Like you're gonna flood everybody's feed and so on and so forth. The reality is I posted a video last night, for instance, and if you guys follow me, I guarantee like half of you haven't seen it. Right? Because my videos, maybe a video from 3 weeks ago is gonna show up on your feed today.
Actually, it's funny because I think I sent you guys this text, but Russ, a hip hop artist, for you guys who don't know, Russ put out something like a few weeks ago, and it was basically a statement that said like, keep putting out like recycled content essentially, because you think that everybody saw it, but most people didn't see it or didn't have the time to view it or whatever else. And it's like you're creating new content constantly, like, and you're on this wheel, and you don't realize that like people aren't even seeing it half the time. You can easily put it back out, and you definitely do that. And I never even notice it, and I see your stuff all the time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like every single podcast, every single piece of content that we create is probably being reused 4 or 5 times. So everybody's like, how do you create so much content? It's because, like, for instance, all these cameras in here, we're going to cut this up and it's going to end up being reels for the next 3 years, right? Like, that's just the reality of what's going to end up happening.
Which is why I always want you to sit in the front row.
Yeah, literally, guys. Yeah, I was wondering, like, if we put one, like, if you didn't have this front row, would that row be empty? Like, what if you had no chairs? Then where would everybody be?
They would, like, basically crawl in each other's laps in the back of the room if they could.
No, but that's the idea, right? Is like the idea is it's like the more content that you the more content that you put out, the more opportunities the more at bats you're gonna have. It's not going to, you know, I think a lot of people go like, oh, I don't want to put out all this content because then people are gonna feel like I'm putting too much out, and oh, it's just, I think it's just excuses, to be honest. Like, you guys just don't want to do the content, so you'll find any reason not to do it.
So let's bring it right into social media. In the real estate business, you're sitting in front of a seller. How do you leverage what you've built on social?
So there's 3 people. There's 3 personalities that any agent or any seller will sign. It's they go with the neighborhood expert, they go with the family friend, or they go with the celebrity agent. Those are the 3 personalities that someone's going to sign. So they're either going to go with the neighborhood expert, the celebrity agent, right? Or the family friend. The reality is if you can be 2 of those, then you'll get the listing every single time. So how do I leverage my social media? It's a combination of both. It's because I have social media. When I sit down, I got introduced from an SOI. I did it from my farming. Right? When I sit down, that's my big differentiator. I just have to be 2 of the 3 in order to get every single listing that I go. I have a 98% close ratio on a listing appointment. Because when I sit down with them, they already know I'm either the neighborhood expert and I'm the celebrity agent, or I'm the family friend and I'm the celebrity agent, or I'm all 3. So who are you going to go with? It makes it a very simple process.
So I think we all know the game's changing to an extent. I've been like on a crusade every month here talking about AI. I'm curious, like, if you don't realize this, like when it comes to tech and like all these things, like he is like, you know, early adopter to the fullest. So I'm just curious, like, what are you using AI for? And, you know, what are your thoughts on AI and how it will impact our world in real estate?
Who's tired of hearing about AI? Yeah. Here's the reality is it's going to change our business completely. And it already is. We all know this and everybody's saying this, but I don't think you guys really grasp how big this is. I want you guys to go back to, you know, who was around when we had, you know, paper contracts before DocuSign, when the MLS was in a book, right? Think about how much the business changed since then. Think about when the MLS went from online or from the book to online. Probably lost a lot of agents at that time, right? Then think about when DocuSign came into play, right? I don't know how, honestly, I wouldn't be able to do my business without DocuSign, right? It's 10,000 times bigger. That's the shift in AI. Like, I want to like say it, scream it from the freaking mountaintops. It is 10,000 times bigger on how this is going to change our business. Our business there will be a loss of 30 to 40% more agents because of AI. Because the difference is, it's very simple, is I become a lot more productive. So it's not that some agents aren't going to be able to, it's going to get rid of agents. It's that I become more productive, so there's less business for all of you. So if you don't understand how to, I mean, a simple way is just learn how to prompt, right? If you don't understand how to utilize these tools and you are not actively in there searching and learning about AI right now, you're going to be left behind, period, end of story. And this is coming a lot faster than you would think. You're going to see over the next 2 years the industry's completely changing.
We're literally like,
it's
insane. I
insane.
can't tell you, like every single day, him and I are, going back and forth about like AI prompts and like different things that we're doing to use AI. And I just know that like, even though I would say we're ahead of the curve, I still don't feel like we're ahead of the curve enough. No. Like it's happening that quickly that every day is something new.
I mean, like just think about like this process, right? Like your thought process of you get a client comes into your funnel, whether it's from an open house, from door knocking, from an online lead or whatever, right? What's your process right now? Some of you are like, nothing, I just wait for it to close. You follow up. You have to follow up. Like, just take this concept out. What if you never have to follow up with another lead again? Like, how productive would you be? It's insane when you start thinking about it, but this is where AI is going. AI will end up following up with your clients. AI will end up touching base with your clients. Imagine if you jump on a phone call, like just put this thought process, because I already have this tech, and you guys haven't even heard of it yet. You jump on a phone call, you're having a conversation with somebody, and that conversation goes, she says, I'm like, hey, how many houses, or what are you looking for in your neighborhood? And they're like, oh, I'm looking for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath in Newport Beach, California. Okay, cool. What's your price point? Oh, $5 million. Okay, awesome. Do you want to meet to go look at them this weekend? Or can you meet next week? So on and so forth. I can't do this weekend. Grandma's birthday. We're going to go get sushi with her. So actually, let's try and plan for next week, but can you send me those properties? Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Hang up. And guess what? It already sent properties to the client. And next week, after the weekend, it's going to text my client and say, hey, Sally, how was sushi with grandma? This is like barely the tip of the iceberg of what AI can do. And this is where the industry is going. So if you don't understand how to utilize AI, you're behind. I can't emphasize it enough. It's insane. I'm like a big nerd about this right now.
So I know Juan obviously just did a whole session really about like, staffing and all of that. I get this a lot is like, well, isn't staffing going to go away because AI is going to do it all for you? And, him and I have had these conversations and, just generally speaking, I've done a lot of research on this, and it's actually interesting because the answer is no, not even close. It's what if your assistants, your VAs are well-versed in AI. Now they're super productive. And I think that that's what you're seeing is this compound effect that's happening right now, where it's like, it's not just good enough to learn it, but it's also like, you got to leverage yourself as well. Like, and there's AI bots that are coming and everything else. I'm just curious. I know we're going down a weird road here, but I want to just bring it back to everybody in this room. What are a handful of things that you would suggest that they lean into today in regards to
AI? Who has ChatGPT? Pretty much everybody in this room, right? Who uses Gemini? So the interesting thing about, I was just curious, like what it is. The interesting thing about like all of these platforms is like each one can be utilized in different ways. I mean, there's platforms that you could literally write all code for websites and create a website in like literally 30 minutes that has a chat bot and everything. Like, it's insane. I think the most interesting one that if I'm like giving you guys, like, I know everybody uses ChatGPT. I think Gemini is going to overtake every other LLM, simply because of the fact that Google has quantum computers. And again,
The infrastructure is
it's
different.
insane when you think about like what a quantum computer does. I think they just announced that like it went back in time like 0.0000 seconds, like because it computes so fast. Like that's the only way that they can understand how it got to where it is. Like, so as this technology advances, Google already has all of the data. They have all your data. You guys probably use Gmail, right? They have every piece of data and it integrates so well. So like if I'm talking about what you guys should be utilizing it for right now, like if you guys use Gmail, you can have a Gemini subscription and literally it can go through every single one of your emails and write responses for you right now, right? Like you can get rid of a lot of the stuff that you guys are doing on a daily basis just utilizing AI. So speaking of like staffing and whatnot, what's really interesting for me is I have a huge staff. I have a bunch of executive assistants. I get them all subscriptions and I'm like, you guys need to do all of these trainings and understand how to utilize AI, right? It's not just, oh, let me put in and write a description for my property, right? Like think about any little task that you do that's on the computer, AI can probably solve for that already. I mean, down to like I utilize, I'll use an easy one because I sent it to you, right? Like Plod.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have a recording device that like now I go into listing appointments, showing appointments, so on and so forth.
We talked about this at the last Growth Mastermind.
This is an easy one, right? Is I click record when I'm at a showing and I go through. The easy example is like I went through a showing as I'm testing this product out basically. And I go to a showing, I walk through the house, the client's asking me all kinds of questions, we're talking, I'm creating rapport, blah, blah, blah. Right? In the past, I'm probably writing notes down and like, oh, shoot, they said this. Oh, they want this, right? I don't have to do that anymore because I have a listening device. And I think everybody's going to have a listening device in the next 2 years. So, you know, everyone's like, well, that's an invasion of privacy. I think it's just going to be a thing that's going to happen. You'll see it. So I click record. I'm in a showing appointment. I'm having a conversation with them. They're asking me questions about the property. They're asking me questions all about oh, how many units are in here? Oh, yeah, don't worry. You know what? I don't know, but I'll get you that information. How many of you guys had that conversation, right? How many times did you do that and then you left and you forgot to send them the information, right? I missed nothing. After the appointment, it literally gave me a whole summary of notes and then it gave me my tasks, what I need to do. And it said, make sure you send how many units are inside this complex. Like Plaud, Plaud. This is it magnets on the back of your phone. You click record, it connects. I think it's like $500 a year or something like that.
$500 for the year, and that includes the equipment. It's worth every penny. It's just like a no-brainer.
Like these are little things that like you. And by the way, like it's crazy because I told Michael this. I was like, yo, dude, you need to get this. And I was like, but it's only going to be good for like a year. Yeah. And he's like, what? Why would I do that? I was like, trust me.
It's funny because, and this is actually leads me into the next question, but I had been like, I'm not kidding you, I've been investigating Plaud for like months before I bought it. And I call him up and I was like, have you ever heard of this? I'm looking at it online. It seems really cool. He's like, I use it all the time. It's amazing. It's just like, of course you did. So it really is. It's just worth every penny. It just changed my world in terms of coming to a conference. So like you go to a conference, like you sit here and don't have to take a note. Like it just gives you a whole call to action of all the things that you might want to do. It breaks it all down. It's really great.
And the reason I say that it's going to be good for like a year is because like your phones already do this.
Yeah.
Right. It's just because
that's how they know you want another pair of shoes.
Yeah, literally. Like it's just because most people like are not used to doing the action. So the way that you would solve this is you would have to right now without Plaud, you'd have to record on your phone, then take that audio, then drop it into another system and then go from there, blah, 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 where Plaud just does it all, right? Where this is going to get a lot easier over the next probably 12 months where you'll just click a button, it'll record, and it'll do all of this for you.
So we're going to touch on this quickly.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like what other technology are you using right now that's advanced that you feel like this is worth talking about?
Yeah, my glasses. Yeah. No, I have my.
How badly do you want to talk about radios?
I do, dude. I have a tech that basically, like what I was saying, is that phone call that phone call that you have with the seller. Like I already have that. I have it where it drops into SOP, so it's all based on Perplexity and ChatGPT on the back end. But essentially, all of this that we've talked about is all in one platform. It sends properties, does all of this. Like this is the tech that I already have. So it's like what I'm obsessed with right now. So I can't think of anything else right now.
We're working on it. Yeah. All right. We'll keep it moving on that one.
Yeah.
Let's go mindset. So the last time you were here, you brought up an example that I thought was really just like a beautifully stated way to look at life. And I think a lot of people who heard it were touched by it. You said that if you think about like the darkest days that you have, effectively those darkest days, could be the darkness in, Van Gogh's Starry Night. And if you put all the puzzle pieces together, you have this masterpiece. And I thought that was like a really beautiful way to look at life. So I appreciate you sharing that.
It's that you only see one puzzle piece at a time.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Like, and you only see that one piece of the puzzle, which is the black piece. And I'm like, hey, let me show you this black piece. Now tell me what the picture is. You're like, black. You're like, tell me what the picture is. You'll never see the beauty until you see the whole picture, right? Like,
so I think a lot of people in here have felt that the market's been tough, with a lot of headwinds. Like, it's, whether it's interest rates, whether it's a lack of inventory, whether it's tariffs, there's just, units are low. There's all these different things, and yet you've continued to scale. So from a mindset perspective, talk to everybody in here about how you overcome adversity and like what, kind of gets you through, all the challenges that we've been facing to still excel and grow regardless of your, external environment.
Yeah. First of all, I think so if you ask any top agent that's built a long-term career, I can almost I put serious money down on this, that they probably built their career in a market like this. That they probably built a career in a down market. That they probably built a career in a high inventory market, so on and so forth. Like I've seen the mega teams. I've seen these. I've sat down with them, and like, so for me, when everybody else is like, oh my gosh, the world is ending, I'm gonna have no career. I'm like, I need to triple down because this is where I take the most amount of market share. Do you realize when everybody else is looking around and they're looking over here and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. Okay, when you're on anybody watch horse races?
Yes.
Okay, they put blinders on the horses. You know why they put blinders on the horses? Because if they turn their head, where do they start going? That way, right? It's the same way when as an athlete, when I was learning in soccer, I remember going to like a running coach, right? And like learning how to run. It's like you cannot shift your head. Like the world-class sprinters, they do not look to the right as they're taking off. They have to go forward because everything's got to go forward. I think a lot of the times we get so focused on like everything around rather than just looking at what's our goal. Where's our destination? Let's just keep working towards there. And what happens is when everybody is looking around, everybody else is slowing down. And as long as you just stay consistent and disciplined and just keep stepping forward, you're going to be ahead. And then by the time you take a look, everybody's, 100 feet behind you. Right? So I think a lot of the times it's really easy. It's super simple to come up with an excuse of why not to work. And I hate the gym. I completely hate the gym. I hate working out. Like I can't stand working out. I was a professional athlete. I can't stand working out. But I became a professional athlete because I realized it's a necessary evil. I hate prospecting. I hate cold calling. I hate door knocking. I hate sitting at an open house waiting for somebody to walk in. But I realized if I want to be successful in this career, I have to do all three. That's just the reality. I had one of my agents the other day. They asked me. They were like, "Okay, well, what if we're doing something else? Could we turn off our Can we make sure our calls get directed to somewhere else? What should we do in that situation?" I said, "Quit." Like, the reality is if you want to be successful, right? You have to want to be successful. That means you have to do the actions on a daily basis consistently. Most of you in this room don't have the business that you want because you're choosing other things before real estate. And that's not that bad. That's not completely, some people, I always talk to people. I'm like, hey, look, if you want to close 5 houses a year, cool. That's great. That's your win. Go close your 5 houses and do that. I want to close 100 plus. So if I want to do that, then I need to be focused on that. And I need to do everything towards that. Who has issues with time management? Yeah. You actually have no issue with time management. You have an issue with priority management. Priorities, look, the best exercise that I've ever done, I went like, I forgot what the thing. I have a whiteboard wall in one of my offices that's like the size of like from over there to here, basically. Like same height, everything. And one day I was just like, I felt like super overwhelmed. This was like years ago. This is probably 2018 or something like this. And I felt like super overwhelmed. I got my pen out and I just started writing everything that I'm doing. Everything. Real estate. Okay, what's in real estate? Okay, cold calls. What in cold calls? How many cold calls? I wrote everything out. I had a whole. If someone walked in there, they would have been like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I had my beautiful mind moment. I went in. I'm like, if someone walked in there, they'd probably be like, this guy's insane, right? I wrote everything out, and this is an exercise that you guys should all do. Maybe not in as crazy of a way, but. I wrote everything out, and then after I wrote everything out, I started numbering everything. I numbered it 1 to 100, 1 to 5, whatever it is, right? If subcategory in real estate, I had real estate as number 5, but then in real estate, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is everybody following? I wrote all this out, and then what I realized is number 7 never overtakes number 1. I don't care what it is.
Bless you.
Right? Number 7. So, for instance, my family is number 1 for me. Anything comes up, and anybody that knows me, that follows me, that does anything, it's like my niece is like my baby. Like anything that if my niece has a soccer game, I am not missing that. I don't care, and I'm okay with losing business for that. Right? But as we go down in these numbers, it gives you a clarity of like what you actually should be focusing your time on, right? Because this business is all shiny object syndrome. It's like, oh, look, there's a new thing. Oh, there's a new thing. Oh, we should go do this. Oh, maybe we should try this. Because you're just trying to avoid the work. Like, that's just the reality. There's nothing that will ever replace hard work. Period, end of story.
Anytime that I hand Cyrus a microphone and I say, let's talk about mindset, I already know the passion that's about to get brought. So I appreciate that. All right, so I want to revisit something because for those of you who are not here, Cyrus, first of all, you're in one of the most affluent places in the country in Orange County, California, and yet you've done a really nice job of investing in Middle America and Muncie, Indiana specifically. So what's the average sales price there? And I know it's changed over time, but
you could probably buy a single family for like 80 grand.
80 grand. And the last time it was what, like 20?
Yeah, like 20, 30, yeah.
Somewhere in that
I've
range.
completely changed the whole city though.
So, and that's actually a real statement. So I'm just curious, like revisiting that, there's so many people in here that like, I hear this all the time from my agents and, for people around me, they know that I invest in real estate and I hear like, I really want to do that. Like, we have a nest egg that we've been, saving up and it's just like kind of taking the leap.
Yeah.
And I think that what you've done that's interesting is you're making money in one of the most affluent places in the country, and then you're investing, among other things, but you're investing in Indiana. where pretty much every person in here could afford to buy in Indiana.
100%.
So my question to you is, what has that done for your life revisited? Because we talked about this the last time, but what is the, you don't have to go into specific cash flows, but just having that peace of mind of knowing that income's coming in and what have those investments done for you in your world?
Oh, it's completely game changer. How I started investing. So what happened is I have, everyone's always like, who's your mentor? I'm like, I have a bunch, right? Like in different facets of my life, I have a mentor, recruiting. Michael's my mentor. Like, he's the best, right? Like every single space I have some sort of mentor, right? And one of my mentors told me this when I got into real estate. He goes, you don't get rich by selling real estate. You get rich by owning real estate. And I was like, yeah, cool. And he's like, so you need to buy real estate. And I was like, got it. And then he goes, so every 2 houses you sell, you should be buying one. I go, dude, you're like 60 years older than me. Of course you think that. Like, that's impossible for me. Like, I was like 22 years old. I'm like, that's impossible. How am I going to buy real estate, right? And he goes, every 2 houses, you should buy one. So then I start going through this, he's like, I took it as like a challenge, right? Like, how do I solve this problem of how am I going to buy this real estate? Well, I live in California. My average price point in my area is $1.2 million. To sell 2 houses and buy one, I was like, dude, I'm just trying to pay for my groceries. They're opening an Erewhon here, but Erewhon, it's like minimum of $20 for a cookie. So my point is that I kind of went through this challenge of how do I buy real estate and how do I own real estate knowing this. So I ended up having a client that, long story short, the client was investing in Indiana. And I had sold his luxury condo in Long Beach for $800,000 or something like this. And then he was going to buy a triplex. And he goes, we start shopping, and he goes, oh, I'm not going to end up buying this triplex anymore. I'm buying in Indiana. I go, Indiana? Ew. Why are you buying there? And he goes, well, I'm getting good returns. I said, dude, you don't understand equity, bro. And he goes, I bought a triplex for $40,000. I go, wait, what? Wait, rewind? What did you just say? I bought a triplex for $40,000. I said, okay, so what are you getting on per unit?
That's a 3-family for those that don't know.
Oh, do you not use triplex? Oh, that's crazy. Do you guys use duplex? You don't use triplex, though?
I mean, I figured everybody would get it, but just in case.
Kind of weird.
Always trying to connect the dots.
Interesting. So learn something new every day. So I ask him, I'm like, so what are you getting per unit? And he goes, $500 a month. I'm like, so wait a second, hold on. So you're making $500 a month per unit. So you're making $1,500 off of a $40,000 investment? He goes, yeah. I go, I'm flying out there. So I flew out to, and I didn't talk about this for years because I was like, this is my little secret, I flew out to Muncie, and I spent maybe 4 days there, kind of went around. At the time, no joke, you can look it up, it was the meth capital of the United States, next to Gary, Indiana. Literally the two cities that were the worst. And so I'm like, this is crazy. This town's insane, but the houses are really cheap, blah, blah, blah. But Ball State University is there, and I'm like, okay, this has a good recipe for a good city, So fast forward, I spent another week there. I spent 2 weeks there, and I just was spending time there to learn, to meet people, to understand who's in the area. Over time, I probably spent 2 months there before I ended up buying something there. And then I bought and then I had seen this for sale by owner. It was for sale by owner. It was a house that needed some work, and it was $18,000. It was a single family home, but it's right across the street from the high school. It's in this, and I'm like, 18 grand. I could do that. Now I understand what Jack was saying. Buy a house every 2 houses you sell. I can do that. $1 million house, my commission, perfect. I can do that. So then I call the person. I'm like, I'll give you $5,000. She's like, no. No chance. And I was like, I'll give you $5,000 for the house, cash. You'll close tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I don't need any inspection. Just, I want to buy the house. No chance. I was like, all right, cool. So then like fast forward, maybe 2 weeks before Christmas comes, she calls me and she goes, hey, do you still want to buy the house? I'll sell it to you for $12,000. I said $6,000 and it's a deal. And I'll close before Christmas. She goes, no, I can't do it. I said, okay, then I don't want to buy it. She called me back. She goes, I'll sell it to you for $6,500. I said, deal. So I bought this house for $6,500. I put $32,000 into it, and I rented it at the time for $550 a month. Now that same exact property I rent out for $1,250 a month. Okay. What I realized very quickly is I should be buying a lot more of these. They're C plus neighborhoods. They're not like you're probably not going to want to live in these neighborhoods, right? But people do. And what I did was I started going into these houses, buying them, fixing them, making them way nicer, and renting them out for $500, $600, $700. You know, I opened contract today on 6 more units in the same area. When I said that, like I like joke about like Muncie being my city. Like I literally have helped redevelop the whole city with the mayor. And so just to put in perspective, like that one unit is giving me $1,250 a month residually for the rest of my life, and it will probably increase. Statistically, rents go up. And I own that place outright. I'm under contract right now for, what did you call it? A three family? A 3-family. I'm under for one of the units that I just bought, that I opened contract today for a 3-unit. It's $125 now. Okay, they're a little more expensive, but each unit's renting out for $1,750, $1,725, and $1,825. Again, you guys can do the math. You guys are in real estate. Put in perspective, I was buying all of these units cash. I literally own like, I joke about it, but I do own like a big part of the city, especially this one subdivision. I own over 100 units. And I did that in about 6.5 years. And I can quit. I can never sell another property. I could go ghost. You guys will never see me again. I'm good. I'm just playing adult Monopoly. I bought a bakery and then I actually knocked down a bunch of my units there. I'm building 150 units there now. Like this is literally what happened, but it started from buying a property for $6,500 and then just doubling down, tripling down, and so on and so forth.
So leap.
You have to. I was so scared for that property, and it's like, what? Like that doesn't even make sense. But the reality is like most of us always talk about like, oh, I want to own real estate one day. Like it doesn't need to be in your market. What's your guys' average price point here?
It depends on where you are. 400,000 across the state, but it's much higher in a lot of areas.
Okay, so what's that average commission?
$12,000.
12 G's. So 12, 24, 36. So, does anyone know what a DSCR loan is? Okay. So what is that? 20% down? 20% down on a DSCR loan. Those that you don't understand it, it's a debt service loan, right? So essentially, as long as the rent covers I think it's like one time the mortgage payment, then you can get the loan. No docs, nothing. It's just you put 20% down, your rent covers it. Typically, lenders don't lend under $100,000 for these, but I'm talking about you do 2 commissions. That's $24,000. That's going to cover your down payment and your closing costs for a $100,000 place that you could probably buy a duplex or a triplex like this, and you're going to probably end up netting $500 plus a month.
Residually
for the rest of your life, right? Stack that 10 times. Stack that 20 times. Right? Like this is a reality that every single person has that's in this room if you sell real estate.
And like I'm going to say this just to add to this is there's a compound effect to it. So like you buy the first one,
Yeah.
now it's not taking 2 commissions to buy the next one. It's taking, 1 commission, maybe 1.5 commission plus the money that you made off the first one. Like it just, I went from having no real estate owned to owning 70 plus units like pretty quickly because it just stacks, it compounds.
Yeah, it's and then you get into really cool stuff like you could end up doing portfolio loans to put them all into one place, whatever. But like the reality is like you have to start. And I think a lot of you guys, I mean, who owns real estate in this room? Who wants to own real estate? Every single person should probably put their hands up, right? Like every single person has that opportunity. And I did it all. I've done it all from money that I've made in real estate. Like, I think that's an important piece because a lot of people are like, oh, you probably have this. No, like
Same with me.
Yeah, I've done it all from money that I've made in real estate sales. And then I put it into this. And like, literally, this is why I still sell, because I'm like, I just want more. Like, this is so fun. I feel like the guy with the monocle, in Monopoly.
I'm going to tie it back to Juan for a second. Juan talked about staffing. I'm not joking when I say this. You pretty much like have a small village in the Philippines. He like went to go visit, his main VA in the Philippines like last year. Was it the summer? I don't even remember.
Yeah. No, in April actually.
In April, I'm sorry. And it was like, oh, he's going to introduce me to the team. And I was like, excuse me? And he like went into this. So talk to us about like what that's done for you, because I think that a big part of today's session is talking about leverage.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like you guys are probably the most leveraged people I know, or 2 of the most leveraged people I know. I'm just curious what that looks like in your world.
Yeah. So, same thing. When I got into, so I have this thought process. I think Juan said it. It was like, if they can do 80%. Like, I believe if they could do like 50 to 70% of like what my output is, it takes that 50 to 70% off of my plate. So it frees me up to do more. When I got into real estate, like I said, my first 2 years, my schedule was really simple. It was cold call for 4 hours a day, door knock for 2 hours a day, and do 2 open houses every single week. Cold call 4 hours a day, door knock, do 2 open houses. What I'd realize is very quickly is exactly what Juan was talking about earlier, is I couldn't keep that up if I didn't hire somebody else. Like, it's impossible because my clients are calling. My clients are calling saying, hey, what's going on with this? How's this? Hey, did you talk to the seller about this? Did you talk to the buyer about this? And it's over and over and over again. So what I did very quickly is I hired my first VA in 2017. And I was like, I did that because I couldn't afford somebody in person. It wasn't because like I was like, oh, VAs, we should all hire VA. No, like it was literally because I was like, well, I can't afford somebody full time, so I'm gonna find the cheapest way. And I was like on the internet, and I was like, oh, there's this thing called virtual assistants. Let me check this out. And then I hired a virtual assistant, and what I realized very quickly is that virtual assistant can take all of my paperwork off of my plate. They could take answering my phone call. They could text people back for me. They could do all of this as long as I had the right processes in place. So I have, like Michael was saying, I have a big team of virtual assistants. That's how I built my company. And they literally specialize in every single piece of my business, down to like my social media, for instance. Like I have an editor. I have someone that just edits videos. I have someone that just edits graphics. I have like everyone is specialized at this point because now I've scaled that way. Someone that just posts my stuff. So they load it up into the system, they post it, they review it, blah, blah, blah. Like, because all of these things that we do on a daily basis that we need to do to get business, like we need to do these things, their time sucks. So if I want to scale, I need to be able to hire people. I mean, Kathy, for instance, who runs my TC department, right? She does all the paperwork. Like I have 3 people in that department. When she first started, she didn't understand how to write a contract. She didn't understand how to what form was needed. Now I'm like, hey, Kathy, do we need to do this? And she's like, yes, Cyrus, you need to send this form, and this is how you need to do it, so on and so forth. Because she's like 10 times smarter in that, because that is the only thing she's doing on a daily basis, right? And so for me, every single piece of my business, if I can have someone else grab onto it and I can show them, I'm like, a lot of people, we have this ego of like, oh, I'm control. I need to have the control of my business. I need to do this because my clients expect this. Like, honestly, that's just BS. That's just making yourself feel more important. Like the clients want service, right? When you go into Nordstrom to buy shoes, you don't go to the owner of Nordstrom and like, I want this pair of shoes. And he's like, yeah, I'll take care of you. No, you go to their sales associate. Like, that's just the reality, right? Like, so why can't our businesses be the same way? They can. It's because we want to feel important and needed. So what happens is we end up saying, oh, well, we can't. That's actually part of my, that's why clients like me. That's my value proposition. It's like, no, it's not. It's just because you want to feel important.
I'm going to open it up to everybody for Q&A. I know you guys probably have your own questions. I'm curious. I see one back there. I'm going to run around a little bit. Please.
Hey, my name's Scott with Bedminster office. It's not a question, but it's just something that works. I've now branded myself as the top 5 local guy, the unofficial digital mayor, and I'll show you what AI wrote for you because I did a thing for ChatGPT to tell Cyrus. But I've been putting out stuff for like my top 5 bagel places, and I've got multiple views on it, thousands of views on it, and it shows the hyper-local content of it, where I've got people now coming up to me, hey, I like your stuff, I saw this, I see this, and I participate in the town pages, and I got a listing from being on the town page because somebody said, hey, I see you on there, I like what you do, I looked at your business page, and I like it, so that's why we went with you. So,
hell yeah, Scott. Everybody give a round of applause for Scott. I appreciate you sharing.
Oh, and I'll be 60 on Friday, and I'm doing this.
Hell yeah.
Congrats.
Happy birthday.
Questions? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew from Maplewood. I want to say thank you and you for all the good information today. Okay, so coming from someone who is a one-man show, I do everything myself. I really shouldn't be anymore. What would you say is the best use of a VA, who's probably in a different time zone, weekly, and the best use of AI daily? Okay,
so best use. So being a single person, I'm repeating so it gets on the mic. Being a single person team, best use of AI and best use of a VA. So best part about my VAs, I require them to work on my time zone. So that's the first piece. Like they work 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. 9 a.m. Every single morning, my assistant, he gives me a call. So my personal assistant gives me a call every single morning. Why? Because I realize probably won't start my workday unless he calls me. So that's my start of my workday is 9 a.m. He calls me and he goes, okay, Cyrus, hey, here's your calendar for the day. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we go through the calendar. He's like, do I need to add anything? Should I remove anything? Blah, blah, blah. We go through this. So this is your first step. Then at the end of every day, my assistant calls me again at 6 p.m., 5:30, because it's before his end of day. He calls me at 5:30 p.m. every single day, and he says, hey, Cyrus, this is what's on the calendar tomorrow, and this is what's on the calendar tomorrow. Did you get everything done that we were supposed to? So he's like my accountability now, right? If I didn't hit something, he adds it to the calendar the next day. If I miss calls or texts or something like that, he's added them throughout the day into my calendar to call those people back. So I have, in my CRM, I have all my calls, all my texts, everything go in there so that he has access to it. Because using my personal number, I realized there was a gap. If I used my personal number, what ended up happening is I would miss calls and then I wouldn't call people back. So then I was like, okay, I need someone to hold accountable. So like that's what the first thing that I would have my assistant do. Just call me every single morning, call me every single afternoon, make sure that I go through my calendar, make sure I have what I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis. And you have to make the commitment on what you want. Like I always tell people, goals are great, but if you make the goals, they're even better, right? Because a lot of people will be like, what should I do? It's like, well, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? And create your own goal, because then you're accountable for your own goal, right? You create that goal for yourself. Tell your VA, tell your assistant, hey, I want you to call me every morning. I need to be doing this. If I don't do this, just tell me, get on me about it. Right? That was the first thing that I used my VA for. That was the first thing. AI-wise, on a daily basis, the easiest one that I would do is I would take all of the data from your local MLS, your stats, your solds, your recently solds, your recently transactions, and I would throw it into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, and I would ask ChatGPT to summarize it, and then I would ask ChatGPT to create a script. Whoa, that was weird. My glasses turned off and they made a noise in my mind. I would ask ChatGPT to summarize it, and then I would ask ChatGPT to make a script for me on a daily market update for my social media.
I'm going to jump in on this one point. So I have an ass-kicking presentation that I put together for today. That's mine, and it's specific to what you're talking about. I'm going to forego that and push it to next month, only because I haven't had these guys here. I want to make sure that you guys have enough time to ask questions, and I think it's better to just do it that way. But I promise you, if you come next month, we're going to go deep dive in how exactly to use that to your advantage to have like compound growth using daily systems. I promise I have a whole presentation for it.
I could answer that question for you. Very simple. Have you heard the Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller? I forgot what page it is, but it's 136 or 186. I forget what it is. But there's an exact page where he goes over, and the very first thing he needs out is admin. So when I put up the Freedom blocks, we always put admin first. Admin includes your email, your calendar, paperwork, transaction management, documents, signatures, anything that just involves administrative stuff. That is the first thing you do. Then you jump into the personal. A lot of people jump straight into marketing and ISAs and all that stuff. Your personal life takes up so much. It's kind of like an extension of your admin. Once you outsource those two things, you're on rocket here. You have so much time to go out there and focus when you do that. So I don't know if that answers your question. I love it. Make your assistant read a book. Honestly, if
listen,
here is not a big reader, buy the book and give it to your assistants. That's literally what we do with all of our team members. So.
It is a great book. There is no question about it. What do we got? Millionaire Agent by Gary Keller. I know we're not Keller Williams, and I'm not pushing them, but I will tell you that book's great.
My question's actually for you, Mike. Now that you're using a VA, are you using it a lot more for personal stuff? Like I always say, I need a wife for myself. Are you using it more for personal or?
Fortunately, I have a wife, but the question is really what am I using the VA for? Anybody who's ever emailed me knows that you tend not to get a response. And the reason why is it's pretty simple. I get about 500 text messages a day. I get 2,000 emails. It's just like drinking water from a fire hose. And, I try to get through it. And what tends to happen is if I spend time doing emails, that's all I would do. So the number one priority for me to start off with was email. That was number one with a bullet. The second thing was what I'm realizing, and I want to go back to what we were talking about with Cyrus's interview is we all have our superpowers. I think Juan refers to it as genius zones. So we all have our superpowers. We all have these things that we're great at. I love being up here. This is a comfort level for me to sit and interview, brilliant minds, for me to, to bring value to you, prepare for all of this. This is something that I just feel really good with. It's natural. I also know that I'm relationship driven. So for me, I want to get in front of, agents. I want to, be around, the people that I care about. And what I've found in my world is as I've scaled and, I've had successes, I always say this, but every level has a new devil. You realize that with growth and with scale, there are challenges that you weren't expecting. The biggest challenge for me was time, and it was time away from the things that I felt like I was best at and I love. So anybody who's been with me from the beginning as an agent, you've known that, like, you know, when I had 30 agents, I was in the office all day long, you know, sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning, like going crazy. I didn't have kids at that time. And I was just like busting my ass to try to do everything possible to, you know, service every need of the office. I'm not that person anymore. And it's not that I don't care. I very much care. It's that it's impossible when you have an operation of, you know, 800 people. So, and other things going on, 4 children and what have you. What I realize is for me, I'm being pulled away from my genius zone on a regular basis. And I needed to get put back into my genius zone. And the way that I would do that is say, like, all right, what are all the things that I don't want to do on a regular basis? And what that came down to was email was to start with. But like going back to what Cyrus does, Cyrus is unbelievable at, like, we have a cameraman, Frank, is doing a great job, but like we have a team of people that's creating the content. Like he's up here physically speaking, but the content is not just him speaking. The content is a videographer doing all of, you know, filming it, and then having a team behind the scenes that's chopping it up, like editing it, turning it into something that's usable that can get pushed out. Those are the type of things that I'm building, is the scale behind the scenes, where I realize, like, I don't know if you guys realize this, but these guys can attest to this. This is a rare thing, God bless you. This is a very rare thing. To get 500 people to come to an event on a monthly basis, live in person, post-COVID, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. Like, nobody has that around the country. And the reality is like, we have that. Like, we've built that, and like, thanks to all of you guys, and I appreciate your support. But like, knowing that, like, all right, well, how do we make sure that we give it manageable content back to you? Because I don't want to speak for anybody in this room, but like, most people don't want to watch an hour and a half long video to like catch up on things. That's not like what you're looking for. You want bits and pieces. That's what we're doing.
I'll give you some more insight. My training manager, who was training his assistant, I instructed her his emails. He has 27,000 of them. I see myself. His calendar, and then his flights, his reservations, and his bookings. Me and Cyrus were in San Diego for Inman. It was me, him, and Remington, who's the CEO of Real Producers. And every single day in the morning, ironically, we disappear to go do our daily review with our VA. So I would call Sebastian, he would call Jihu. I forgot what Remington's assistant's name is, but it'd be like an hour where we just kind of do a brain dump on them. And then we go out to lunch, have fun, all of that stuff. And then Mike, one day comes up to us, he's like, hold on, guys, I gotta like reschedule my flight. And I gotta do it. I'm like, reschedule your flight? Like, what are you, like, you're a corporate exec, you're one of the most successful people I know, you own all this real estate, like, why are you doing that? He's like, I need someone. So that would be like Mike's specific thing. It's like little tiny things like that, like I go into Expedia, to maybe the hotel, to the reservation, to the restaurant, that we want to outsource. But in your guys' case, it may be something else. So I think for everyone, it's it.
Who's doing your finances? You own multiple properties.
Yes.
I'm a small little person. I own.
Hold on. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude here.
Do I need to get up? So are you giving access to your VAs for all your financial management stuff? Because
Yeah.
that's quite sensitive. So.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so first of all, the fact that you own 3 properties is huge. It's not small. So just put that out there. I understand that, but everything comparison is a thief of joy. You know, it's all relative. But I think the so bookkeeping. I have a bookkeeper. I have my bookkeeper is out. She's virtual, but she's here in the U.S. She actually just happens to be locally to where I live. It wasn't that way, but she's local. So I've actually met her in person. Which again, by the way, like even if I hadn't met her, she'd still be doing my stuff. I think it's just like. Why does that make it more like secure that the fact that I've met her in person? I think that's the big take on VAs is like, oh, because we've met them now all of a sudden they're more trustworthy. Like, that's not a reality. Just something we make ourselves feel better about. But my bookkeeper, so I have a bookkeeper. She goes through all of my companies. She does it. We have on a monthly basis, my property management company sends us our list of properties, what, expenses, so on and so forth, our expense reports. She takes that, she reviews it, and then makes sure everything's right. She sends me at the end of every month. every month I have a call with her to go through my P&Ls for every single one of my companies, any single expenses, so on and so forth. So that's my financial situation. I go through that, and then her job is to make sure that my CPA has everything he needs to make sure my taxes are done right. So again, I don't want to do my own books. I have no interest in doing my own books. And so I needed to find a solution. I used another software before that was doing it this was years ago, that was doing it automatically and stuff. I just saw a lot of mistakes in there, and I wanted someone to call me. Again, it's an accountability thing, right? How many of you guys go through your P&L on a monthly basis? Probably not many of you, right? And it's such an important piece as a business owner. And so that's how I do it. So every month she goes through my P&L with me, and she goes through, and then she sends it to my CPA.
You know what? Could you also, Juan, touch upon the security levels and yeah.
So two things we do is we make the DA sign an NDA, we run a full background check, and then we identify any past employers and we verify their entire thing over there. Something I personally do, Sebastian, is 2 employee credit cards of mine. One's for the personal side. So I order contact lenses once a month, and I have to get random stuff off Amazon and whatever it is. So if I need toothpaste, I'm not gonna go out there order. I'll get Sebastian, right? So toothpaste, they'll have access to this personal card, and it's capped at $900. So worst case scenario, from a financial liability, I'm $900 if you want to go ahead and run away with it. On the business side, I cap them off at $2,500. So yes, there's always risk sharing, personal information, all that stuff, but what's the alternative? The alternative is you continue to do it yourself, and however much time that takes for the rest of your life, it becomes impossible. So at some point, you do have to kind of open up and do a little bit over there. And as far as QuickBooks management, QuickBooks software has a lot of clients that you go ahead and double click features, and you never want to share any of your personal login or stuff like that. So there's ways around it for sure.
Password protections. There's sites that basically they don't get your actual passwords on things.
Yeah.
It's it's given differently. Hold on.
Same.
All right, hi. So my question is on something that I've been struggling with for a while with regards to implementing automation. So at what point do you cross the threshold to where you then say, okay, I have to implement some form of system or integration or automation for this? Because when you're just starting out, and you're only dealing with so much volume, do you think it's still pointless to implement some form of automation when you can still handle it manually? At what point do you decide, okay, it's time to spend money on a monthly basis on integration, even if you're only dealing with a handful of emails a day, for example?
Yeah. Anything that you do more than once, there's a system to solve it. Period, end of story. So if you're doing that action more than once, you should systemize that as soon as possible.
Time out 1 second. Guys, you're welcome to get food, but please be quiet.
So as soon as you're able to, I would systemize it, because that's going to allow you to scale. Again,
We got louder.
I'm going to go home.
I said, I think they misunderstood. Just it was turn the volume up.
The thought process is I would do it as soon as possible, because that's just going to free up time to go do the next thing, right? What you're going to do, your business, you're going to consistently do this, is you're going to find the next problem to solve it, systemize it, and keep going, right? And so as soon as you're able to, do it. If you do it more than once, there's a system to solve it.
Got a question here, and then
I just want to just one last thing. The other thing I'll do is write down every little one of these little tiny things, because even though let's say you don't get enough emails, you spend 20 minutes a day on it, that in itself may not be worth systemizing. But if you add up your emails with your calendar, with this, that adds up 4 or 5 hours worth of work. So I would just make a list of everything, and then once you're ready to kind of put it all into one system, you can just outsource the entire thing, because it'll sync that up. Even if it's just 5 minutes there and 10 minutes there. But I wouldn't go into workflow and automation overload either, where you're trying to automate your entire life. Because then what ends up happening is instead of doing work, now you're just building all these little automation, and then you get crazy and all of that stuff. So if you do it 5, 10, 15 times on a consistent basis, automate it. If you do it once or twice, just add it to a little bucket that you can delegate in the future.
Hi guys, I have a social media question. So I've built a pretty decent following, I think, on Instagram over the past 8 years. I think I can definitely, and I know I can, not I think, I know I can trace most of my business somehow, some way back to Instagram. I feel a little stuck right now. Like I'm not at the beginning, but I'm not like top level. I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm just trying to reach that next, just to bring in more business. Besides reaching out to local businesses and something like that, is there any other suggestion you would have for someone who's not just starting Instagram? Again, 8 years in, most of my business is coming from there, but I'm just not at that top level that I want to be at.
So I'm going to ask a couple questions. So what's your, yeah, now it just turned into a consulting session.
By the way, I just want to give you context. She also sells a ton of real estate. So it's not like I only do one deal a year. Like she's selling a ton of real estate from Instagram.
Dude, I'm trying to do a consultation. That was what I was going to ask. You got to wait for her to get the mic before you ask her another question. So the question is like, how much are you putting out on a daily basis?
Okay, so if I can get, now that this isn't one-on-one, if I can get really transparent and honest, I feel like my consistency was really great. I was just kind of the past, let's say, year and a half, or let's say 2 years ago, I was really starting to put out more video, reels. I did like a listing video where I went through town and I asked everyone in town that I just randomly met on the street, like, what do you love about New Providence? That did so well.
Because I lived it.
Yeah. But then I got pregnant, and I'll be honest, I just didn't want to be on camera anymore. And then obviously postpartum again, I just didn't want to be on camera anymore. So I'm trying to find my way back. I'm feeling much better and more confident. And so I'm trying to find my way back to making that content again in video.
So I appreciate that, honestly.
More questions?
There might be. You might just leave the mic there, So I think what's really important to understand and hear first is that video, for instance, the New Providence video, whatever. Like that video can still live today.
Sure.
Right? Like in our minds, it's already done. We've used it. But like that video is still going to make you a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You have to keep pushing it out. Because everybody that's seen it isn't everybody that's going to see it. Right? And then second, I think that this happens a lot with most people, and it happened to me where I hit this where I was like, now I gotta how am I gonna put out more content, right? It's probably time to hire somebody to schedule all of that stuff for you. Okay. Right? If you're running into a block that you're like, because I'm pregnant, because I'm dealing with this, I didn't do this, it's probably because you need someone else to do it for you at that point, because at that point, if you had someone just cutting content from your old content, reposting and stuff, you would have never had a lag. Right? So it's probably the right time to hire somebody to just manage that social media, or even just cut the videos, upload them into some sort of scheduling app, or even give them your login to Instagram, upload them into, Instagram has a new feature now where you could give them a separate login and for just to schedule your posts. It's not out for everybody yet, but it will be coming. Like that's another piece that you could just give them that. Upload for me, or TikTok or whatever, right? But that's what I would be doing. If I'm you, I'm taking all my old content, I'm hiring somebody, calling Juan first. I'm saying, hey, Juan, I need someone for my social media. Then Juan's going to get you somebody, and then you're going to have them go and get all of your old content, all of your old videos, and they're going to start cutting all of that up. And they're going to start repurposing all of that content and scheduling them out, and tell them, what I would do is I tell them, for the next 90 days, I want 1 post a day. Once we hit that, then start going to 2 a day from that first 90 days. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you can just do that. The thing about it is like I'm like obsessed with hip hop. And there's an artist named La Russell, and he completely changed the game for me as far as social media goes. Is I saw him post, and then I was on his page, and then I saw I was like, wait, I just watched this. It was like today he posted this, and it's like 7 posts down. I was like, what the heck is going on here? But I didn't see the 7 posts on top. I only saw that one from 7 before. And what I realized is he's posting like 7, 8 times a day, just consistently over and over again. But some of the content is from like 4 years ago. And so, but I had never seen it before. And that's when I realized that. And so I think it's really important to understand, not everybody's seen all of the stuff that you've put out. Just reuse it. Just keep reusing it.
I was
Jen.
we have a client named Kyra. She just got pregnant. She's a massive influencer. And she was like, come on, Alex, I told my baby to not get a baby on the way, on time. We hired Jennifer. Alex sat down with her for a week, showed her the exact process he had. It's on the big sheet, or all of that stuff. Now Jennifer just had it sold everything. So it just sounds like you got like kind of like tired and bored of doing the editing portion. Alex works that, Fashion will come back, create more content.
Hi, Juan. I'm Jen McManus. I spoke to you the other day. Good. I just wanted to ask, seeing your Goldie AI and creating those SOPs, like, is there a timeline or how much time do you expect it to take to create those before you get on board with a VA?
Really good question, yeah.
I'm a little.
So my biggest recommendation is hire a VA as soon as you could afford one, right? And if you have a good understanding in terms of a salary budget, $18,000 to $24,000 a year, okay? So what is that, about 2 or 3 transactions, save it up, have it ready. From there, I would just build SOPs, document your journey, load all your tasks into Goldie, create as many things in there as possible. You kind of think of it as if we're building a machine to then give to someone else. So it's really as soon as you can hire someone. I've had people hire a VA within 6 months of getting their license. I've had some people wait 6 years. I've had other people wait even longer. It really just comes down to when you're ready to let go, that's the time. But as far as what you should build everything in that. And the more that you can put in there, the better it's going to be for crowdsourcing.
But I guess what I'm asking is, should I be like writing up all those SAPs on that first, SOPs, before I say, let's hire that VA? Oh, okay.
Because we're going to make sure we do that entire process in the first week.
I'll speak. Yeah, I could speak to this firsthand, like, because I didn't have all those created. That was like his team. I actually would recommend, if you're going to do this, don't do it beforehand, because the instruction that I was given from his team and sitting down with me to show how you do it, even from Juan himself, like, it was enlightening, and it saved me a lot of time and effort that I would have otherwise wasted. Yeah, it's part of the process.
And we have a lot of templates that we work off of. So you can tell us, I need help with this, and this. Our team will go in there, edit the templates. You just have to tweak them a little bit, and they're good to go. Anytime.
Hi, I'm Maureen Conley from Westchester County in New York. I already have an assistant, and she's good, and she's become a friend. She's been with me like 6 years. She moved to Florida like 2 years ago. Not the best.
Okay.
How do I started to text her while I was here and say, go to this site, tell me what you think of it. And then I'm thinking, no, that's kind of like cutting her out. How do I still include her?
We have an assistant training program. We will manage her for you. We will train her for you. We will coach her for you. We'll put her into our therapy sessions, our executive assistant training, all our courses. It's $5 a month. Month to month. You enroll her in there. It's kind of like coaching for your athlete.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kendra Mager. I'm 19 years old, and I'm not in college. I'm starting real estate school next week, and I was just wondering.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. I was just wondering what you guys would do if you were in my place.
I didn't go to college either. Just fun fact. What you would do what I would do is, why are you getting into real estate? Let me ask that question. Like, who do you know in real estate? Okay, there you go.
Just right next to
What I would be doing is, right now, you use TikTok. I already know that, right?
Yes.
I would go to every single property. You could meet all of these people right now, and I would go to every single one of those listings, and I'd do a video, and it very simple, like this. You don't even need to be in it. I do a video of every single property, walking into the property, a room, so on and so forth, and then I would break down what it costs with XYZ down payment, and I would post multiple of those on a daily basis. Right now, I'd be doing that every day. I'd just be posting videos of how much it costs to buy in this property, this area, so on and so forth, and I just start pushing out content as much as you can right now before you get into real estate, because once you pass your exam, I guarantee you will have leads inside your funnel. And then what you do is, when you get the leads beforehand, you're going to call me and you'll be like, Cyrus, you were right. Oh my gosh. You're going to tell, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. Here's these leads. When I get into real estate, I want XYZ% referral fee.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hold on one second, because I got people over here.
I've been doing that like 3 or 4 times a day, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I was at your Gold Bar event,
Which one?
the one in Miami, and it was
Hell yeah.
incredible. And I went right before I took my real estate exam because I saw it listed and I said, this looks amazing, I must go. And then after I left, I went and took my exam, and luckily I passed. And I'm so happy to, be able to be here now as an agent because I wasn't an agent before. So I really am getting so much out of it.
First off, congrats on getting your license.
Thank you.
Congrats on taking so much initiative beforehand. We have agents that have been in the industry for I don't know how long, and you
Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
Thank you. I'm trying to put my time in. I'm trying to use that time wisely. So now I was lucky enough to get the listing of a rental building in the area, and it's a 34-unit rental building. So we're getting off to a nice start. So just as a new agent, do you have any suggestions on, other marketing for that? And
I think what Cyrus
just
said is absolutely amazing. One of the biggest real estate teams in Texas, all they do is just post TikTok videos and reels of local properties. And they wanted to align themselves with luxury, so they had no luxury listings themselves. They went to the luxury agents, they paid for the videographer, and they would just ask the agents, do we take beautiful listing videos of your property? They would just do property tours. And would pump one out every single day. And after a while, all these luxury buyers would just reach out to them. So, yeah. Yes, you're correct. As long as you have agent's permission,
Yeah.
you aren't allowed to use other people's listings.
And you also have to put, I don't know what the rules are here, but you like in California, we have to put who it's listed by
Yes.
underneath it. But
They
I mean,
put it in the comments. But
yeah.
That's the biggest word of advice right now. It's like it's free buyer leads, it's free seller leads. Yeah,
you have
and
34. You have 34 units. You said. Yeah, I would be doing videos of all 34, and I would be posting those videos every day, like 3 times a day. Don't be afraid. Like again, don't be afraid that somebody's going to be like, oh my gosh, why did she post this again? Because they're most likely not going to see it. Like, you just have to consistently just put out that content. So I'd go spend 2 days getting all of that content, and then just consistently put it out over and over and over again. You'll see, like one of them will hit, and like all the other ones will get like 1,000 views, and then one will hit like 50,000, 100,000, and you'll be like, what the heck? What did I do differently? Nothing. It's just because that's the one the algorithm picked up.
Okay, so this might be a piggyback off of both of their questions. I'm gonna be licensed for a year in November, but I haven't done anything just because I'm so kind of confused as to should I go through social media or should I do traditional door knocking, cold calls. I get really lost with that. So what do you guys think is the best? What should I be focusing on? Is it social media or is it traditional cold calling? And
First thing I want to address is it took me 10 or 11 months to close my first deal. Like, ever. And I spoke to a lot of agents that are very successful and something that took them like a year and a half. So don't get discouraged. You're right on track, okay? Second thing is, what do you enjoy more? Could you envision yourself waking up every single day and door knocking everyone's, okay. Could you envision yourself getting cold calling people and getting rejected? So can you envision yourself recording yourself on camera, putting yourself out there?
Like that's the opposite.
Go all in, record 3 or 4 videos a day. Once you get to the point where you're getting more traction, hire your video editor, go ahead and take it off your plate. And you kind of have to become your own marketing machine. And once you have the marketing machine going out there, putting out content 10, 15, 20 times a week, it's really that simple. It's record property tours, get people to reach out to you, and then go out there and take it out.
I might go a little bit against what he said, just for the fact of like, so as a soccer player, when I was playing soccer, like from me to this chair, when we would start, we would pass the ball as a professional athlete, right? Like I'm working on my touches from right here. I'm working on my touches from 3 yards away because it's the basics. Like the basics are what gets the big things done. That's why I can hit the ball for 60 yards on a dime, right? The reality is I go back to what I was talking about, the gym. You're not going to enjoy every piece of this business. And if you think you're going to, get out of the business. You're not going to. That's okay, right? That's just a career, right? You will enjoy the life that you create because of this business, though. And that's super important to remember. So you're going to do things that you don't like. You might have to door knock. You know, farming, some of the best agents in the world. I have an agent that I coach. He does $350 million a year. All he does is farm. And he's known in that neighborhood. He does open houses on the weekend and farms his neighborhood. Doesn't do cold calling, doesn't post on social media, nothing. Does $350 million a year. Right? So there's all these different ways of getting business, and you're stuck in like, what do I do? You got to do something. Right? You have to execute, right? Like I just showed, I just finished writing a book. It's called Visualize, Map It Out, and Execute. There's 3 things to accomplish literally anything in the world. It's visualize it, then it's mapping it out, and it's executing. Those are also 3 different types of people in the world, right? The visualizers, those are the dreamers, the ones that tell you, I want to do this one day, and I want to do this, but they never step out into actually figuring out how to do it. Then you have the people that go and they're mappers. They just go and they all they do is try and figure out the perfect way and they never execute. But sometimes it's ready, fire, aim. Sometimes you just have to execute. You got to get out there and do something, whether it's, again, filming a bunch of videos and doing that, and then on top of that, going and door knocking. But you're in your first year, you're in your first 2 years. I'm telling you, my first 2 years, I told you my schedule, 4 hours of cold calling, 2 hours of door knocking, 2 open houses every single weekend. And I was posting on social media too. I wasn't posting like I am now, right? But I did that for 2 years. It completely changed my life. I did that consistently every single day like a madman, and it completely changed my life. I sold 30 million in my first year, right? If you stay consistent with it and you stay disciplined and you do the basics, even though you don't like it, you won't have to do them later. So you're either going to do them now or you're going to struggle later. It's your choice.
I'm going to take a different stab at this because you sparked a thought when you stated your question. Rob actually and I have had this conversation about like people that get started in real estate, they take different approaches. So, I think of my daughters. I have 4 beautiful girls, love them to death. I have one is Mila. She's 4 years old. At the age of 2, Mila literally ran full speed and did a cannonball in the deep end of the pool. And we were horrified. Mila's the best swimmer. By far the best swimmer out of my girls. They could all swim. Nobody could swim like Mila because she just didn't care. She was reckless abandon. I'm going in the pool and I'm going to do this. And I think that the people that in this business that are the best of the best, they just go and do it. And they fall on their face. I can't tell you, every one of us, we could attest to this. I've fallen on my face 1,000,000 times. Every single day of my life I fail. But every single day of my life I learn from those failures. And I get better and I get smarter and I take those learnings and I figure it out. And I think that there's not a person in here who's successful that wouldn't say the same thing. You cannot be afraid to fail. And what I'm hearing from you that stood out to me, immediate red flag, and I'm not knocking you because I think there's a lot of people in here that struggle with the exact same thing, is there's analysis paralysis. You cannot overanalyze. You have to just say, prioritize. Cyrus was talking about this before about the beautiful mind, put it all on the wall. Figure out what you want your plan to be. And then start with number 1 and don't go to number 2 until you've really gone after it for number 1. It's just, you have to start somewhere and it's okay if you screw up. Right now, you don't have any business. It can't get worse. It can get worse if you do nothing and then you starve to death. But that's not going to happen if you get after it. So just go to action.
Go on the Google app and just say, hey, I'm going to announce a new challenge. I'm going to post every single day on social media. You're going to hold me accountable. And then people just show you love and support you and all that. Just find an accountability partner.
And the difference between me and I think I don't believe I'm anything special. I think the big difference is I failed 17 times. I failed 17 times before someone else started. Right? So before you start, I've already tried 17 times. So I figured out the 17 ways not to do it. And I'm on 18. And that's why I'm going. It's what Michael said, right? You just have to do. Sometimes you just got to go. And then what ends up happening is you're going to figure it out on the way. Right? Did I ever think the craziest thing, and this is mind blowing, the the craziest thing right now is you can't even understand and fathom like how much success you can have because you don't understand how to get there yet and what it is. I couldn't even understand that this is what my life would be when I started in real estate. What I realized is I just got to take a step every day. And as long as I take a step every day, then I'll eventually get to whatever that destination is. And it was some completely different thought process when I started. And it's 100,000 times better than what I expected, right? So you just have to start going forward. And even if you fall on your face, at least you fell flat on your face, you're moving forward.
Hey, I'm Jen Scott out of the Maplewood office. This could be SOPs, right? But could you just give a word of advice in terms of like social media? If you did want to hire a VA, right? How do you keep something like that is so an extension of your personality, like still in your voice, even though somebody else is doing it, right? It's like, I like to do voiceovers and like specific cuts. And I guess I'm worried that if I hand it off to somebody, it won't be me.
Yeah, so two things. So like my assistant responds to my text messages and my emails, okay? I'll give you the exact process that I did for that. And then that way you can kind of start understanding. What I did was when he first started, I had him go into my text messages when I first had him start doing this, and he would read the text message. He would write a response to the text message, send me the response to the text message. I would be like, no, change this word, change that, add this. This is a training, right? Like you got to understand you're duplicating yourself. No, this is not what I would say. Why did you say this? Let's edit this. And then he would send it. I did that for 3 months where he wrote the text, I reviewed the text, and then he would execute on it, send it. First off, it was the first 3 months was he was reviewing all of my texts. I would respond, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. He's reviewing. Second 3 months is the review and then send. The next 3 months is he just started sending, right? Because now he understands. I say, oh, yeah, hell yeah, that's dope. Like my VA from the Philippines is probably not using that term, right? But that's how I talk. And that's how my emails come up. That's how my texts are, right? Like, so from there. Now, as far as the content creation goes, first off, there's like these crazy new AI tools that you could utilize that can literally duplicate your voice, which is insane, right? That's a whole nother conversation. But you're gonna you're the artist. I want you to be the artist, right? Like as a CEO of our business, like we are the artists. We should be thinking creatively. We should not be doing the actions, right? So in that way is you're creating the strategy, and then, okay, if it's the content of your voiceover, you're creating that voiceover, and then you're sending to them and saying, here's an example video, do the action. Does that make sense? Until you utilize AI that copies your voice, and then they can type what they want you to say, and then it automatically does it, right? Which also, again, that exists already. You could use that. But for now, you might be here.
I want to give you a quick experience that I went through more recently. And it was eye-opening to me personally. So Lynn Keller, she was here. I think she went back to the office. But Lynn is my assistant manager in Maplewood. I love Lynn. She's an incredible person, such a hard worker. She keeps me on task in many different ways. I was away on vacation with my wife. It was our 10-year wedding anniversary. We went away. We're in Portugal. I'm literally on an island in Portugal, hanging out at this beautiful, hotel that we're at. And Lynn was stalking my world to try to get answers to a question. And I think it was literally to get somebody paid on something, which is there's nothing more important than you don't want to stand between somebody and money. And she knows how much I care about that. I want to make sure we get people paid. But the God's honest truth is I wasn't even looking at my phone. I'm sitting on a beach somewhere essentially, not thinking about this. And Lynn was getting pissed at me, and rightfully so. She wants to get somebody paid. And I read the text messages, and she was venting via text message, I need to get this done. Where are you type of thing. And by the way, I want that from her. There's nothing wrong with what she's doing. So I saw this, and I did not get mad at Lynn. I got mad at myself because I was not doing anything wrong at all. I was living my life as I was supposed to be. Where I screwed up was not that moment. Where I screwed up was I didn't have a system in place before that moment. Because there is no reason why me and my wife and with all the success I've had in my career and all the things that I've done right, there's zero reason for me to be sitting on, a lounge chair like in the, the middle of the Atlantic Ocean essentially, and have to be like tied to my cell phone. It's insane. But all of us deal with that. We all deal with that on some level. It might not be that exact same, context, but we all deal with that on some level. Please sit. And what I realized is like, I'm doing something really wrong. Like I need to hire, like I need to have a system in place for this. I need to do SOPs. I need to do all of the things that are a lot of work up front, but they like release you of the chains moving forward. And that was like the aha moment for me, if I'm being real. I got another question back there.
Actually, I wasn't going to put it the way Michael put it, but I was just wondering if there might be an overflow room where conversations can be held or others can quietly get their meal, because we have guests who have taken the time, who've come out here, who dropped some incredible nuggets. And there are those of us who are sitting here who are having a very hard time hearing you because of a lot of the ancillary conversations. So maybe if there's an overflow room, we can at least hear what you're saying.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, the mics are up. Oh, why weren't we doing this the whole time?
Fun fact, Michael's actually a very good rapper. So
Yeah, great. Who has a question? Anybody? Now that I turned the microphones higher?
Cool. We appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so
sincerely.
much.
Thank you so much.